If you are anything like us at Thrift Books, you love books. You know, real books, made of ink and printed on paper. With over 13 million used and new books, starting as low as $3.99, Thrift Books has your next great adventure. Affordable textbook or cozy afternoon. Any format, edition, and condition, right at your fingertips. Visit thriftbooks.com/podcast and find your next favorite book today. For the love of books, Thrift Books.
Hello, and welcome to another installment of Old Men Yell at Cloud. I am Christopher, and I am joined by Patrick.
Yes, you are.
And Jim.
Bananarama.
Yeah, we're living the Zoom life once again as we head into the middle of summer. I was
Vida Zuma.
Yeah, I was under the impression that I was going to be back in church on Easter, but I guess I'm incorrect on that regard. Tonight we are joined by possibly my oldest friend, who did an episode with us before.
Oh, what a distinction.
Yeah, because I think that's legit.
Doesn't necessarily mean best, just oldest.
Yeah, no, I think that's legit though, because if we go back to Cub Scout days, I mean that's probably accurate.
I was eight, and I'm 37 now, so that's a pretty good run for us.
Yeah,
you guys were cubbies together. That's sick.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll introduce our guest, John Greene.
Hello.
So
thanks for having
Johnny.
me, guys.
Yeah,
hey, baby.
Very excited to have you for a not fucked up episode.
Hey, before we start, so while we were waiting for everybody to join the DJ booth thing here, I was playing some fine tunes, including the stylings of William Hung, and I actually did a little bit of research on Sir William while we were waiting. Let's do a little Price is Right rules. How much do you think William Hung is worth? Let's start with John, since you're the guest. Price is Right rules, closest without going over. William Hung net worth.
Now, bear in mind, Patrick and I are at a slight advantage because we are both Facebook friends with William Hung.
This is true.
Fuck, man. I don't know. $11 million bucks. I don't imagine that's from musical proceeds. I just think like he got a little seed money from the boost he got post Idol, and like owns like a bunch of laundromats, like some loan shark companies, like stuff like that. 11 mil.
11 mil, okay. Patrick?
I don't think he made that much from American Idol, and I think he's like a crime analyst. Crime analyst.
Animal.
Crime analyst. Yes. A crime analyst now.
That's his new album.
So,
William Hung, crime animal.
I'm gonna guess like between those two things, he's probably saved a little bit of that money. He's probably got like $600,000, maybe.
I'm going to go right in the middle with a conservative $1 million.
Wow.
Patrick hit it right on the fucking head. $600,000.
Wow. That is oddly specific.
But you know what's funny is like I looked at it real quick and I went, what the fuck? He's worth $600 million? And then I went, 1,000. But I was kind of like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's worth like the box office draw of a Marvel movie.
I mean, I know he's like a household name now, but Christ.
600 G's, that ain't bad.
Nah, I'd take it.
It's pretty good.
No, I would take it too, definitely.
For like a guy who did an album of covers and humiliated himself in front of the North America, pretty nice take.
Well, you
not
figure
bad.
people actually bought that album. Like, our friend Pat owned that album and played it in his car for a while.
Yeah, and that was, out of spite. He's a mean-spirited guy, and, that it gave him it didn't give him like a sort of joyful, hopeful optimism that like fans of the show captured. Like, he laughed at that guy's expense. He was punching down every time he played that album, and he listened to it a lot. So, I mean, it says a little bit about our upbringing, Chris, but ultimately, you know, I wonder how much of that $600,000 is spite money, and how much is it like joyfully optimistic people wanted to take a genuinely positive guy and lift him up a little bit by throwing a couple shekels his way for a cover of She Bangs.
You know what, man?
What the proportion is on that 600 grand? 50-50, 80-20?
In America, it's all the same dollar, man.
So when Patrick and I worked together, our boss on a Friday afternoon basically told us like, "Hey guys, let's close up early and head down to the corner pub," which is an actual corner pub near where we worked. So like everyone's like
delicious.
Everyone's
delicious variety of egg rolls at that place.
So
I love the white trash egg rolls. It's like an egg roll full of mac and cheese and hot dogs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they do tater tots too, which is like, you know, the sign of an adult establishment.
So
so good.
So we get there.
I miss that place.
We get there,
Me
right?
too.
And all we've been told is, guys, it's Friday. Let's close up early and go to the corner pub. So I'm thinking, like, you know, we'll all have a few beers, we'll tell some jokes, and everyone will go home a little early today. It's, you know, that's what you expect out of that sort of scenario.
I had a whole Al sandwich with me that I hadn't finished yet.
Oh yeah, so you took it and just ate it at the corner pub.
Oh, you know it, baby.
So we get in there, and the first thing I do is I open up the jukebox app on my phone, and I throw on William Hung's version of "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" And
Nice.
that gets cued in there, and then all of a sudden our boss starts talking like, "Okay, guys, so we have a serious thing to discuss today. We need to fire one of the principal partners of the company." And like he starts going into this serious thing, and then he's basically just like, "So does anyone have any questions?" And then you just hear, "Can you feel?" in the background. And
I put that on.
It was so good.
Yeah,
I was trying
Good
to.
times.
I was trying to show my dad because my parents were down in Florida for like the month of December a couple of years ago, and I went down to visit them, and we went into a bar, and I was like, "Oh, they have touch tunes." My dad's like, "What's that?" I was like, "Watch this," and I put on "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" and just watched the bar like, what the fuck? It was just full of like retired, like, you know, retired folk who had no idea what the hell was going on. Like nothing but country music was playing up until the point I took over the jukebox.
No appreciation for the irony.
And played William Hung and 2112 by Rush. So
Back to back. Perfect.
good time. Yeah.
yeah. I put on Dogs by Pink Floyd, which is like 22 minutes long. One day when we were having lunch at the South Street Diner.
Bang for your buck.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I get to listen to 90% of this album for, you know, $1. So today we listened to Ask the Deep, which is the second full-length solo album by Icelandic singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist Sóley Stefánsdóttir, known by her given name of Sóley. A student of the Icelandic Art Academy's composition program, Sóley soon joined the indie folk band Seabear, a group she remains in to this day. As a member of Seabear, she had no real plans or intentions of being a pop musician until 2011, when she received an email from Thomas Moore of Moore Records, their label at the time, about the idea of releasing some of her own material. The EP Theater Island was released in 2010, followed quickly by a full-length entitled We Sink. Chromantic, a work of all piano compositions, including sheet music and illustrations, was released in 2014. So there's not a whole ton out there about Sóley, so everything I got was either from a really short Wikipedia article or an interview that she did with the Reykjavik Grapevine. So when talking about this album to the Grapevine, she told them that for Ask the Deep, she definitely knew what she liked and wanted, what sounds, what lyrics she wanted to write, and she had a whole album in her head and wanted to make a whole piece of music again. And then she became pregnant and had her daughter, and for a while, it was basically just kind of stop and go. So when her daughter was 4 months old, she said she was always rushing into the studio to simply get it finished and mix. It was a case of go in, go back out, totally crying, hormones, and then go back in again. She went on to say that the album was supposed to be about the sea, she explains. I was jogging along the seaside in January 2 years ago, and I felt this feeling of creepiness from the area around me, so I wanted to make lots of songs about the sea. I started to read poems and books about the sea, and I also started reading books by Jon Kalman Stefánsson, who also writes these very dark, heavy stories. But from there, the album ended up not being so much about the sea as just about the deep in general, the abyss, the feeling of drowning and you can't get out. I was often referring to the mind and how it can overtake and engulf you at certain times. So, yeah, this...
She also lives now with Christopher as of last summer, I believe.
It was last September that we got a dog that is named Sóley. Not for the artist, but my wife was looking up various possible pet names in Icelandic that we could name our dog, and she asked me, "Hey, how about Sóley? That means buttercup." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. Sóley's great." So yeah, she now shares the name with my dog.
Wow.
Really nice pooch.
There's a lot in that bio that I'd like to unpack, but I don't know. I'm pretty unfamiliar with my role here in the discussion, so I'll let the adults commence before I weigh in.
I mean, what
Are you sure? No,
do you have any questions? Go for it. Yeah.
Just have at it.
Well, this is like one of those scenarios where like I'm just on the other side of the ocean or like of life from someone like this, and I hear this and I have this like simultaneous like yearning to fall in love and hate that person at the same time. It's just like how what luxury life that you lead in Iceland, where you just like jog along the sea and make this immerse yourself into this thing and explore art while raising a child and casually recording an album, and like it just seems so like casual and impossible. And I get it. It's like a 4-paragraph blurb. It's like looking at someone's Instagram photos.
No, I get it. Like, you know, she apparently lives this beautiful, charmed life on a remote island, while you grew up, you know, down the street from one Friendlies and on the other side down the street from another Friendlies.
Well, yeah, and another thing to keep in mind too is that her solo project is her second project. She is in a successful band already.
Yeah, she's established.
Sea Bear?
Yeah.
But on the other end of it, I'm like, yeah, like obviously I'm a reasonable person. I know that every human being, and like you curate data. It's not like she just told us everything that happened over the last 2 years. But that's just the bio. We didn't even talk about the tunes yet.
Yeah, no, let's get to talking about the tunes. So let's go around the horn and talk about a favorite song. Jim, why don't you start us off?
My favorite's gonna be Devil.
Have I danced with the devil? Does he still love me? Then I'll crawl slowly to him, grab him, hold
The lead off track. As soon as this started playing, I was like, this is pretty cool. I really liked how it kind of drew you into what was to come with this album. And the drums kind of slam in that. You know how I fucking love that shit. And I was like, yep.
We got some slamming drums.
We're
Jim's
in here.
hooked.
I'm hooked.
Slammage.
Slamming in. It's just a really cool fucking, as far as like, you know, I know you were just kind of ragging on running up and down the beach and getting lost in the abyss,
I'm
but it really does.
on it. I was ragging on it because I can't run. I'm too fat to run, and I don't have any time to really unwind like my thoughts about abstract elements of nature and humanity. So I'm just jealous. I'm just a hater. Like I wasn't slamming it. It's
No,
cool.
but I was gonna say that, you know, she kind of mentioned she saw these things and felt these things and basically described a soundscape and then fucking went and made that soundscape, and I feel like it really captured that. Not only in the whole album as a whole, but that first song really kind of grabbed that, you know, feeling, I guess, and it kicked it off.
The vibe for me from that song is very much one of like, I'm driving home alone down the back roads of New Hampshire to get to my place, going through all these like wooded roads that have no street lights, and then I'm probably going to get abducted by aliens on the way.
Oh, that is my biggest fear when I go to visit you at night.
it's
Literally, every time I drive to Christopher's house at night, all I can think of is fucking Betty and Barney Hill. I'm like, this is where the shit fucking happened.
Well, I mean, the truth is probably weirder. Like the time John was driving over, and it was like,
well, the truth is out there.
We can go through this again.
Yeah, like some dude like pulled over on the side of the road at like 10 at night, and just ran into the woods.
Probably had to pee.
Yeah, maybe. Patrick, what was your favorite song?
So, I had trouble kind of picking what out. I kind of liked everything equally. I think the one that made the biggest impression on me was Follow Me Down.
I'll go because of the silence. I'll go as far as you go, as long as you take me deeper. And while I dream about this place, it's even deeper than our home. Follow me down and deeper, find me a heart and keep it moving like the star. Deeper, follow me down.
It
Ooh,
just,
I like that one too.
yeah, I think that one just had this great sort of, D minor shuffle to it. That I think that was the one that the percussion reminded me the most of Peter Gabriel. That and like her kind of like double tracked vocals kind of just reminded me of like later era Gabriel stuff. Yeah, and it just had like a great groove to it. I think this is the first time I've listened to this album, so I think if I gave it more listens, I feel like my favorite would probably change. But yeah, this was just the one that immediately stuck out to me the most. It's just like the grooviest.
John, how about you?
I liked One-Eyed Lady.
Did they disappear? Did they really leave her here today? She's hungry and alone and needs to find a way to get to him. She's the one.
Ooh, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Some of the elements that I really enjoy musically about this, there's like a tradition that I think carries through a lot of the Icelandic folk music that we know, like, come from the miasma of like the small country that has kind of had an isolated folk tradition that ties to like other folk traditions that I quite enjoy, that stem back to the early explorations of polyphony, that the choral groups, you can draw some like really interesting threads like cross-culturally around like early polyphony, and I was reminiscent of some folk music that I really enjoy. And when I say folk music, I'm not talking about fucking Peter, Paul, and Mary. I mean like 13th century Georgian folk music and like Maltese shit.
Yeah, the
there's
real
this weird,
shit.
Yeah, the real shit, not this fucking Peter, Paul, and Mary shit. I'm talking about fucking fiddles and zithers and fucking big drums. Yeah, so I quite enjoyed it. There's a Polish theater company called Theater Czar that does like really interesting musical and physical theater explorations of that stuff, and it reminded me of a song like what I think one of the opening vocal harmonies. I was like, I fucking heard that harmony before. That is from this production I saw years ago that like still like it was so resonant with me. It's like stuck with me, and I was like, ooh. And then of course like kind of fucking creepy name. Like I'm like look at like the music hits me. I'm like, what the fuck is this song called? And I look, I'm like, One-Eyed Lady. I'm like, fuck yeah, this fucking One-Eyed Lady. Like so I don't know. I really enjoyed that one. I think that one kind of grabbed me.
Cool. I'm gonna go with Ivan Tear.
Did we dig you deep enough though? Did you wonder when this fairy tale would ever end? His eyes closed slowly when we took his eyelids.
The second song, which it translates to fairy tale, which is said several times throughout the chorus of the song.
Translates to anima.
Yeah, it translates to Anima by Tool. No,
That's what it's called. It's called Anima by Tool.
In Iceland, we have a different word for the album Anima by Tool. It's called Ivan Tear. It's a strange thing we do culturally. To other albums.
Ivan Tear was it was the lead-off single from the album. It was the first one I heard, and it was actually the first Sóley song I heard. So yeah, I got really into it and listened to it a whole bunch when it first came out, and kept going back to it to the point where I pre-ordered the album months before it came out, and was just genuinely excited for an album to come out in my 30s, which is, that's kind of saying something. We can't take those moments in our 30s for granted, I don't think.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, I've got heartburn right now, but it might be a heart attack. I'm not sure yet. I'll let you guys know by the end of the episode.
Yeah, like, I've been, this is really going down the old men road, but like, I was driving today and I realized, oh shit, my elbow really hurts. And I just have this unexplained elbow pain now that I have been living with for the past several hours. I don't know what the fuck I did to my elbow. I discovered it at like 10 this morning when I was driving. That's the new normal.
I'm at the point where I have to decide if, like, did I gain 15 pounds or is my body changing? And I like that one. I like that later one. Because I'm going to be 36 this year, so maybe that just happens. It's not just because I've been, laying around for the past 3 months eating nothing but snacks.
Jim, what was your least favorite song?
Patrick and I both had fast food today. Oh, no, 3 of us did.
Yeah.
John, did you eat fast food today?
No, fuck no, dude. I'm like everyone else is in this like great gorge that's happening right now, but like all of my food indulgence happen away from my house because my wife is crazy healthy. So like you could cut my arm right now and I'd be bleeding fucking hummus. It's just pathetic. I've just been eating like very well balanced, healthy meals. Like if I walked you through the food is awesome. Like we're eating like kings over here, but like really healthy kings that are trying to live forever. And like I'm trying to die young.
No, that's positive.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the fuck out of here, and I don't have the courage to do it in a cool way. So I was eating myself to death, between meetings at work, and this is just killing me. It's adding days to the old life. It stinks.
I will never forget the day when I was on lunch break in Copley, and I bumped into you as you were coming out of Chipotle. And we were just walking. We were walking down the street, just like conversing. And then, as I was about to like head back to my office, you looked down at the bag of Chipotle, and you're like, "This ain't gonna cut it." And you turned and walked into Wendy's.
And
anyways, my least favorite track. I had a tough time picking a least favorite. I actually think I'm gonna go with "Breathe." Or Breath Sorry, breath. Is it breath or breathe? Now I don't
Breath.
know what I wrote down.
It's Brie at.
Leave our life behind when we fall down. It's time to move on into the light.
Breath. Only because I didn't write anything down, and I don't know if I zoned out during that song or I was in the middle of drawing my beautiful portrait of young Sóley here, but yeah, I'm just gonna go with that track because I don't really remember it.
Fair enough. Patrick, how was it by you?
I also had a tough time picking out a least favorite. I think each track kind of had something cool, and each track kind of had something that grabbed me, like whether it was a hook or just whatever the beat was doing or just a sound. It's like each track kind of just had something special to me, and I had to actually, between us doing the listening and signing on to Zoom, I kind of just like quickly went over the songs on YouTube just to like refresh myself, be like, okay, which one did I really not like? So I ended up going with Dreamers.
Once I thought that we had lived ourselves to it was
Just because it kind of felt the most straight ahead and most, I guess, like kind of basic shoegazy. It's still like a really cool song. It's just the one that probably is the most lackluster out of the bunch to me.
Sonically, it's the most indicative of the album following this, where it's a bit brighter than the rest of the content on this album.
Yeah.
It's definitely the odd song out, but did play it out at my wedding.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good song, and I think, you know, if I listen to this again, you know, my opinions on all the songs will change anyway.
Yeah.
I like the little snare rolls in it. Thought those
Yeah,
were cool.
like I said, there's something cool in like every single song.
John, what was your least favorite?
Wasn't there a song that was basically the same? It was the same. It was like a refrain. It was like a redo.
There was one kind of like transitional track. All y'all.
Uchtibu, yeah.
Yeah, and it made like a couple appearances. No, there was like a line that was repeated in multiple tracks.
So the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is there's a riff at the beginning of Devil that happens at the end of Lost Ship.
Yeah, that's it.
My devil, my master, my mind and my soul.
I did not like any song. I liked every song. I thought the album as a whole was really nice and was a good album. But I was like, I don't need to hear this again. I already heard this like earlier. It wasn't so cool. It wasn't like that great of a bring back for me. So it's not like a song, just like that part. I was like, we were doing this again? Was we singing that again?
I'm just gonna go off on a tangent just for 1 second here because he said bring back. We used to, when we were living in Wakefield, we used to go to the Showcase Movie Cinema a lot in Woburn, and there was like this little thing with Lenny Clark before the movie where he would talk about like different special programs that Showcase Cinema had, and he would get really excited. He'd be like, and one of the coolest things that we do here with his thick Boston accent is we bring back old classic movies. We call them bringbacks. And that's something that's going to
Genius.
go to the grave with me, is that memory of Lenny Clark talking about movies that they're bringing back being called bringbacks.
We call them bringbacks.
That's brilliant. I mean,
It's
What
when
else
we dig,
would you call
it's
it?
when we dig. It's when we dig up our old friends in the graveyard. We call them bringbacks.
Those are the people who want to make
town's
America
full
great
of 'em.
again. The bringbacks. They want to bring it all
Town's full
back.
of 'em. You know Harry down at the hardware store? He's a fucking bringback. Guy died in '78 in a horrible car accident. Did one of those voodoo spells on him. He's still working at the fucking hardware store like he didn't get mangled in the horrible car wreck because of a drunk driver. He's a fucking bringback.
So that went from being like a
some
medical
fucking
condition to
Pet
being a racial
Cemetery
slur.
shit.
Oh, God. Ooh.
Oh man, I'd say my least favorite was Halloween.
Tonight, the boys dress up like dreamers, preparing their long way to
Similar thing. It's least favorite.
This is Halloween.
I like
This is Halloween.
I like every song on this record, but similar to what Jim was saying before, this is the one that I didn't really take any notes for or anything.
It was too spooky.
Too spooky for Halloween.
Yeah. The other song spooked you too much, so you couldn't write anything about it. You're too scared.
Yeah, I was too scared. Jim, what was your your MVP moment on this album?
My favorite MVP moment was
I corrected myself. I said fave MVP moment.
all right, I'm gonna tell you about my favorite, least favorite MVP moment. It's gonna be the in "Follow Me Down," those swinging piano triplets. Stupendous.
Yeah.
And I really liked how again another slam and drum part comes in, and then those piano triplets actually there's some kind of echo happening with them, and that gets panned towards the end that I thought was really cool too.
Yeah, the triplet syncopation of that song definitely made it a little groovier.
Yeah, agreed. Patrick, what was your MVP moment?
Again, I had trouble kind of picking one out. And I think just the percussion in general on this record was pretty outstanding to me. But I'm going to go with the kind of scratchy sounding percussion that happens at the beginning of Breath. I don't know. It was just really cool and something that I would like to explore again. It was just like a very interesting, novel sound. Good stuff.
John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm just going back to the one-eyed lady. I love how that. So, yeah, I really like the beginning of that.
Did it disappear? Did it
Because what I really appreciate about this album is it's an album, right? It's not like a bunch of jams.
Yeah.
It is a full thought, right?
It is
And-
very cohesive. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I realized that really early. Obviously, I think One Eyed Lady is one of the earlier songs, so it was like, oh shit, this is an actual album. Fuck. Yeah, and I think when I had that realization the first time I listened to it, I found that like really refreshing and cool, and just like another thing to make me like envious of her. Like, ugh. Oh yeah, you fucking write albums too. You fucking do that. You can't. It's not good enough. Running by the seaside. It's gotta be a single cohesive soundscape. Fuck you. No, I really enjoyed it.
Mine's gonna be an Ivantir, and it's the pre-chorus for that, where all the tuned percussion started playing that ascending riff. Just a nice little like chef's kiss to that moment there. That was a really cool part.
Yeah, I felt like the percussion in that song was not your standard percussion, which was kind of cool. The sounds that were used as percussion weren't your typical things you'd find in like a Patrick S. Barry household.
Yeah.
Was it a drummer playing a kit, or was it sampled, or was it a little bit of both?
So there was something tuned going on that I think was probably either like a xylophone or something along those lines, and that's what I'm referring to specifically.
In that song, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there is a live drummer that plays on a chunk of the songs. Cool. Jim, what's a comparable album to you?
So this is going to be no surprise because I literally wrote it down and then John made a joke about it. I'm going to go with Beach House's Bloom. That was the closest thing. I mean, there were a couple others I wrote down that I'm sure some of you other guys are probably going to mention. But yeah, I thought that Beach House was probably the closest thing to this that I could think of.
Yeah, I think Dreamers in particular sounded like it could have been slightly informed by that album, or I mean, it was a pretty popular album when it came out. Was it 2013?
Bloom came out,
or was it 2012 or something?
2012. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, 3 years before. Yeah, totally can hear some connections there.
Patrick, how about you?
I'm going to go with 2016's Seat at the Table by Solange for a couple of reasons. One, I think I've heard you refer to this album as like one of your favorites of the decade, Christopher. I don't know if I'm citing you correctly.
Yeah,
if I'm getting ahead of myself there.
It definitely is, yeah.
Yeah, so and this Solange record was one of my favorites of the decade, and I could just kind of hear a lot of both records like make really cool use of percussion production, and it's like where it's like really dry but also purposeful and punchy, and like just that like real deep resonant snare that just doesn't like doesn't ring out for too much longer than it needs to. Yeah, and just the interesting use of percussion and production in general.
Nice. John, what would you say is a comparable album?
Well, you guys saw in the chat that I feel like this album is the soundtrack to an Austrian detective drama that has been or is about to get picked up by Netflix because they don't know how to create their own content, so they have to buy it from Europe. So there's like some elements of that I found.
Sure.
I think another comparable, reference for me was the Massive Attack. Like there was a lot of sort of ambient soundscapes. The percussion had some elements of it there, like the pace of a lot of the songs and how the songs fed into each other had like a very, reminded me a lot of Massive Attack, and so I would say that a bit. And then
that was going to be my second pick.
Yeah, Beach House, like tonally, there is a lot of crossover sounds that like I think you could recognize on some of the later stuff on Beach House. It's kind of a good mix of the two, really, because there's a lo-fi quality to Beach House that I don't think is present in this. Like, this is a very crisp, clear recording that is more in line with Massive Attack, but I'm pretty
sure that a lot of the drums on Bloom were done with like a fucking $20 Casio keyboard.
Yeah, I mean that's how like their whole vibe is like really, you know, and that's their aesthetic is like two creeps in some like weird apartment in Baltimore, like making music out of trash. You know that I find that endearing in a way, but this didn't seem like that. It was a slickness to it that is more reminiscent of like electronic music than lo-fi music featuring electronic instruments. So, but I you know, it was a good marriage of the two for sure. And then you layer in some of that weird folk influence. You know, obviously, there's a buttload of that up in Iceland. Like I don't know, it was good. There was a lot of good influences.
I'm gonna go specifically with the Air Force by Choo Choo, which came out in I believe 2006.
Oh yeah, you know what? I hadn't heard that album in a real long time.
It's pronounced pew pew.
Do you think I'm talking about the band with exclamation points in their name?
No.
Oh, okay.
Pew pew.
Okay.
Pepe's band.
Oh, got it. Yeah. And he's always chasing that poor cat that was accidentally painted on.
Yeah. They're both in my neighborhood.
Yeah, that Choo Choo album in particular, again, going back to the percussion, is really where I'm finding the similarities here. There's a lot of fun loops that Jimmy Stewart from Choo Choo made by just playing different bits of weird hand percussion and then messing with it on his computer and then turning that into a loop, and that would become the foundation of a song, that sort of thing. And it's another...
Oh, yes, I love Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, come on! I'm Mr. Smith, and I'm in Washington, see?
Jimmy Stewart.
It's too late for me to do a Jimmy Stewart impression right now.
John's is my favorite so far.
I can't do a Jimmy Stewart impression, but I could definitely be one of the bad guys in a movie of the Jimmy Stewart was the ingenue in.
Yeah. So
look at this mug. Look at this mug over here.
Wow, Mr. Potter.
So yeah, funny that we're all going with the percussion, but yeah, that's where I was going with that. Jim, scale of 1 to 10, or I guess 0 to 10 if we're feeling. We've never gone that low, but we could. 0 to 10, no decimal points. What would you rate the album "Ask the Deep" by Sóley?
Well, I'm going to tell you about my MVP least favorite moment rating. It's actually going to be an 8 out of 10. I really like this. I really like kind of soundscape stuff. I've just within the last couple of years, I've really kind of shifted gears and moved into a more like when I'm working, kind of want to zone out to something. And this kind of thing is like right up my alley. So I'll definitely be listening to this again and checking out her other stuff. And yeah, like Patrick was saying, like there really wasn't any one song that like nothing cool was happening. Like, every song had its little like McDonald's Happy Meal toy in it that you're just very excited to hear and play with. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Patrick, how about you?
Gonna jump on the 8 train here and also give it an 8. This is
Be careful. The 8 train goes to a not very safe area, so be careful.
Oh, but they got really good pretzels at that stop. I'm going to stop there and get a big fat one. So this is my first time hearing this record. I've heard Christopher talk about it quite a bit. And I think there's just like a lot of really cool and novel production stuff happening here. I don't know. I might be like too soon, with it being 2020 to talk about like overall like what the 2010s sound was per se, but like I feel like this record to me does a good job kind of because there wasn't really a monoculture in the 2010s, but this does a good job kind of encapsulating the bedroom pop aspect of this past decade. And yeah, just it's. I'm really glad I listened to it with headphones. It's one that you really should either listen to with headphones or just really loudly, because there's so much happening underneath. Like, if you have it down low, you kind of just hear her voice, and like she's a nice singer, but like you can't really get a feel for A, what she's saying, or B, any of like all the cool intricate stuff that's happening underneath.
I was going to say that this is probably not the first album, but since we started doing the quarantine episodes, I think this is the first one I was like, man, I'm bummed we didn't get to actually listen to this one on vinyl.
Yeah, seriously, because this had a lot of cool and very warm soundscapes to it, despite, it being from the land of ice, which it is one giant ice cube, right, guys?
Yes, it is a physical cube.
Correct.
Okay. Anyway, I'm babbling. I think what I was getting at is that
floating in that whiskey glass that is the North Atlantic.
That's right, baby. On the rocks. I could see this going up in rating if I listened to it more. I think there's a lot of really neat stuff happening.
John, how about you?
I'm in the same range. I don't think I'm quite at an 8, because I don't think there's a single song I can sing. I think in order to get you know what I mean? Like, I can't sing along with anything.
John needs to be driving down Route 1 fucking with the top down, the wind blowing through his hair, just belting these lyrics out. And until he gets that, he's not going to be happy.
One-eyed lady. I'm the one-eyed lady. Like, I can't, I can't hit the notes. I don't know what the fuck she's saying. Like, it's just a combo. It's a combo factor. There's not a hit on the album. The album itself, though, like all the elements that you guys mentioned, I agree with. I gotta tell you, this album made me wish that I was 26 and single, because this is a booty jam album waiting to happen. You're out at the local watering hole. You end up popping home with a nice little filly, and you say, let me pop something on. You drop this album, and you just get a little comfortable on the old shitty futon. It's going down with this thing, because it's like, it's unobtrusive. It's nice. It kind of all blends. Like, it's a kind of thing, if things are going really well, it just kind of plays on loop. It's like you listen to it for 4 hours straight, like while trying to figure out a way to unbuckle your belt. Like, it's
pretty, but a little bit detached.
I ain't living that right now. I ain't living that life right now. And so, it may get up to an 8. It may ripen a little bit, like Patrick mentioned, but I think I'm sitting at a solid 7.5 on this bad boy.
All right, so if you had to pick 7 or 8, what are you going with?
Well, I can't do a 7.5?
Nah.
No, we explained that.
Yeah, no decimals.
No decimals.
I guess I don't know what decimals are. Fuck me. 7.
7? All right, cool. When this album first came out, I got it, and I think I told John when I was talking to him about it earlier. I listened to it on my commute to work and my commute from work every day for probably about 2 weeks. It was all I wanted to listen to. I just listened to it constantly, nonstop. Was this before or after the Kiss discography dive? This would be before. Okay. But not too long before.
I was going to say probably pretty close.
Yeah, it would have had to have been right in that general ballpark. But yeah, I listen to it every day. And when I think about like the all-time favorite albums that I have, like Kid A or Spiderland or Disintegration, something like that, I don't think that this is at the same level as those. But at the same time, I can't deny just how much I fucking like this album and how much I've listened to it through the years and how much I'm still listening to it. So I would be lying to myself if I gave it anything but a 10. So,
wow.
Yeah, so this...
I get that.
It's a soft 10. Which is how we usually do the qualifiers, John. It's a soft 10 as opposed to
soft 10,
as opposed to a strong 10.
Why don't you just do fucking 9.5, dude? No decimal shit.
Listen, this ain't your show, Buckaroo. Okay, relax. Our rules.
This rule sticks. A soft 10. What is a soft 10?
Well, you know what?
That's a hard 12.
You know
if you ask certain people.
You know why I suggested doing it?
That makes sense.
Was just because of doing the math and coming up with an average. I didn't want to get complicated with the math.
Yeah.
So because as it is,
I understand that. Like it's fractions are hard.
As it is, those 4 ratings give us an average of 8.25.
Yeah, that's solid.
Cool.
So that's the rating
Sounds good.
that we've assigned it on this given evening. John, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah. Anytime. I love this. This is good. This is a good chat.
You got anything going on that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I got fucking tons going on right now. It's great. Oh, man.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
you
know what's actually coming up?
What's that?
No one can go to this. I don't know when anyone will listen to it anyway, but so my company is like trying really hard to be like the cool hip company in a crisis. Just, and it's just corporate America. It is what it is, but like a lot of earnest, really awesome people. Like I like where I work. I talk about it often. I spend a fuck ton of time thinking about it. And so we don't have an HR department because that HR is a dirty word. It's a people strategy department. So our head of people strategy, she's a rad lady. She's really nice and she's awesome and she's a friend and been a really nice person. But she makes these interesting choices, and I'm like a go-to. I'm like a go-to in the interesting choice train. It was like, hey, all right, I need some support. Like, hey, John. And one of the things that she decided to do when the quarantine happened was a virtual concert series on Zoom, and it was actually pretty cool because she had some friends that were musicians, that were professional musicians, and she would pay them with my company's money to come and play on a Friday after work for the company.
Nice.
And so it's pretty cool. And then some people in the company play tunes. And so this Friday, if you happen to be a member of my company, the 2,000 people that work at my company, you may be able to tune in to a Zoom channel that features yours truly playing some old tracks, some new tracks, and a couple of covers. So that's happening on Friday for me. But as a result, maybe I'll be playing into a mic and into a computer. So maybe as a result, I'll have a couple of kind of raw live recordings of some stuff that's been kicking around for a while, which is kind of cool.
Nice. You doing Fifth Business stuff?
Yeah, doing some Fifth Business stuff and some covers and a couple of things that I've been working on in quarantine. That is, probably destined for Fifth Business, but I may never leave this basement, so it may just be for me.
Jim, you got anything?
You can mosey on over to my blog and check out the progress that I haven't updated. But maybe by the time this airs, it'll have been updated. I know I say that every episode, but maybe I'll actually get off my ass and update it.
Jim,
so that's.
I didn't know you had a blog. What's your blog, man?
Well, it's. I'm going to tell you. It's buildingahomestudio.wordpress.com, and it's very far behind. But
you far behind.
Soul Asylum. Love those guys.
Candlebox.
I know, I'm joking.
Runaway box never coming back.
Yeah, the
Far behind on a one-way track.
Yeah, just to clarify, in case anyone who's been listening is unaware of the process, Jim basically gutted his basement and is in the process of building a proper home studio in it from the ground up. And
I'm an insane person.
yeah, it's been an insane
My
amount of work.
body hurts so bad.
Well, how many pounds of that soundproofing rolled stuff did you get? You got like a pallet of it, right?
It almost broke the lift on the 18-wheeler when they delivered it. I think it was 2 tons worth of mass-loaded vinyl.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what Jim's up to.
That'll hide some screams.
Yeah, that sounds creepy.
Yeah, Emily's afraid I'm going to hurt myself and she's not going to be able to hear me screaming for help. And I was like, you know what? Just let me die. At least I died in my happy place,
My happy place. Oh my God.
But like, how the hell am I going to kill myself in my studio unless I accidentally like impale myself with a
Or
drumstick?
electrocute yourself.
Electrocute yourself, lifting something you shouldn't be and falling. There's a lot of ways you can die in a studio.
A cymbal could poison you.
Yeah, you could eat the wrong symbol.
You can invite
the wrong
a weird black metal band to record there, and they could fucking kill you.
Sacrifice me.
There's also
It's like
those
fucking
studio
bloody
goblins.
pentagrams all over the wall. That's why I painted the walls red, so that the blood doesn't show.
It keeps the goblins away. Jukebox Zeros, also on the Zero Science Network. We're kind of wrapping up season 3. Can't believe it. It's like already June. Check us out. I got a new movie podcast called Must Watch Movies that I'm doing with Christopher, which we just put the first episode out last week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What was the first movie? I didn't even realize you guys did that.
Citizen Kane. Yeah, it was. I haven't really had a chance to promote it yet, and just with like everything going on, I haven't really promoted much of anything yet. But yeah, you can check that out. And yeah, I guess that's all I'll promote this week.
Yeah,
there's a lot of good content on our little network now. There's a lot for you to digest. So get your ass on over there.
Yeah,
there's so much stuff actually that I've been meaning to plug, but
yeah, it's overshadowed by slightly more important things out there in the actual world. Yeah, John, the conceit of must-watch movies is that Patrick doesn't like movies, so I'm assigning him movies to watch.
Only the greatest ones.
Well,
of all time.
Culturally important in some way, shape, or form.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, Citizen Kane was like a good one to start with, I think.
Yeah, it's the obvious.
Did you like it?
Oh shit! You know what, Christopher? What we haven't done in a while, and I think John would be a great candidate for.
What's that?
You got an alt nation, or is it alt nation?
Alternative nation. Yeah. Even when I was asking you what we hadn't done in a while, I was typing in the web address.
Nice. All right. So while Christopher pulls up an article, I'll give you a little bit of rundown on what happens here. So Christopher's going to give you an alt nation headline, and we have to guess what the actual meat of the article is.
So I would give him an example because you got to know that this is the worst kind of clickbait site out there in the world. So it's going to give you a title that has passing resemblance, if anything, to the actual content of the article.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a round table.
Let's do it.
Let me find a good headline here.
Oh, he's still looking.
Oh yeah. No, I gotta find the right one, because the trouble is I have to read like a paragraph into the article to maybe find out what's going on here.
Yeah. Interesting. This is a fun little game here. This is cool. I like this.
So while he's doing that, I'll plug something else too. So we're trying to do a new remote Cactus Attack song that will hopefully release in the near future. I've kind of been dragging my ass. I'm supposed to throw together a drum track to give to the dudes to write some stuff over it, and then we'll polish it up and release it as a single at some point. And then I think I'm also going to throw some jazz stuff at Patrick. I've been kind of fucking around with jazz drums when I've been practicing, and I'm like, hey, this is
jazz.
This is kind of cool. I'm gonna give Patrick some jazz apples to mess around with, and
oh yeah, let me give me some jazz.
Well, my friend Mike, who was on for the Can episode, he's been like listening to nothing but jazz lately, so he'll toss me a couple of jazz records every once in a while. And I listened to Free For All by Art Blakey, which is a drummer-led group. It's pretty cool.
Nice, yeah.
Which actually I ended up finding, because I've always wanted to kind of like study jazz drumming a little bit, because it's something that I've never really took a dive into head first. and yeah, it's been very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. I dig the jazz drumming style a lot. It's just like it's technical in ways that you wouldn't expect, I guess.
It's more about, and actually this kind of came up in the Beyond the Lighted Stage documentary that I rewatched again the other day because I've been like obsessed with Rush for the last 3 weeks. And Neil Peart was talking about how he basically went and studied with, what the hell was his name? Freddie, I want to say like Freddie Gruber or something. I think it was Freddie Gruber.
I heard this story. This is where else did I hear this? This is a crazy story that I've heard like 3 times about Rush.
But he went in and studied with this guy, and basically the guy's like, it's not the drum hit you should be focusing on. It's the motion of your limbs in between the drum hits and how that affects the drum hits. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And if you listen to jazz specifically, I feel like you can kind of hear the motion in between. I mean, isn't that what they say about jazz? Jazz isn't about the notes you play, it's about the notes you don't play or some shit. Isn't that some bullshit jazz quote?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something Mr. Fremont Smith told us one time, Chris.
Man, that's a deep pull because I think he was only a teacher for like 1 year.
Yeah.
In our school system. But I remember he, when I was in 5th grade, he was the one who introduced us all to 10,000 Maniacs.
Big 10,000 Maniacs guy.
He was, yes. They're becoming quite famous, students.
He was.
Well, that makes one of us.
Yeah, he was boning to all those fucking the 10,000 Maniacs songs.
Yeah, and their song specifically, he was a big fan of the song "Candy Everybody Wants," which I don't think was a single, but it was the one that he like showed us and made us like learn the lyrics
deep
to.
Cut. Deep cut.
So anyway,
I mean, you know what though? There are worse things that happened to us in elementary school and middle school. We talked about this before in one of our other podcasts, but like, it's like in the height of the Michael Jackson like pedophile trials. Like we were all holding hands and as 11-year-olds and singing Michael Jackson songs. So if this guy wants to drop some 10,000 Maniacs on us, you know what? More power to him.
yeah, it was better than some of the other things that we were, exposed to. So got an article for you here. It's by our boy Brett Buchanan. Here is
Who else?
Yeah, here is the headline. Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist loses voice in comeback. Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist loses voice in comeback. Now, just I had to look something up quickly to verify this about myself, but John Frusciante has apparently rejoined the band for like the 20th time. So
okay.
Right.
I'm giving you that little hint there, but that's the headline.
You're just going to join up with them to play Boston Calling this summer? Am I remembering that right?
That could be the case. So yeah, one more time. Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist loses voice in comeback.
Is it his own voice, or did he lose someone else's voice?
Just says in quotes loses voice.
All right, I'm gonna take a stab here. He suffered a long power outage at his house and couldn't charge his phone and had no access to social media, so he could not post anything on the internet.
It's very creative and something Brett could pull out of his ass, but that is not correct. I'll do a couple yes or nos as well, if anyone's interested. I'll do 10 questions, yes or no answers.
Okay.
Does it actually involve John Frusciante from Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yes, that's one.
Does it involve social media?
Yes, that's two.
Did he go on Facebook Live, but the audio got fucked up halfway through? I mean, Instagram
That's
Live.
wicked good. Yeah.
No, that's
probably what happened.
That's a great guess, but no.
Well,
That would be.
I'm done.
That would actually be more of a newsworthy event than what actually happened here.
Of course. Well, I wouldn't expect anything less from this asshole.
Did he try to put out a solo album and was trying to record it and actually got laryngitis?
No.
Man, this game is hard. Does he, this is a shot in the dark. Did he co-opt some of the guitar licks of the member that had replaced him previously and lost his ability to play the Frusciante-esque guitar that he is known for?
That is an interesting guess, but no. I'm not going to say you're close, or I don't want to lead you in the wrong direction, so I'm not going to say anything about it, because you're not technically thinking along the right lines, but you're thinking creatively, and I encourage that.
Does it have to do with his guitar?
No.
Does it have to do with his voice?
Yes. So up to 7.
What was the very last part of that sentence? So he lost his voice before what?
Red Hot Chili Peppers guitarist loses voice in Comeback.
In Comeback, right, okay. Wait, is that like a bring back?
Oh, I think I know. So he comes back into the band, but the rest of the band is like, you don't have a say anymore. You're just here.
Oh, yeah.
No, again, you're thinking too big. This is a very, very small story. So that's 9. You got one more yes or no answer, and then I'll have to take your final guesses.
He went to go see the re-release of Oliver and Company in 1996, though, and he was told to be quiet in the audience. I'm ready to go to bed, so I'm just throwing whatever at you guys.
All right, so
this is tough.
so
I don't know, man.
I'll start out
I thought
by-
Patrick had the best one.
I'll start out by revealing the source of this information, because as you know, Brett Buchanan likes to have a good source for his articles, and his source is the Red Hot Chili Peppers subreddit, and Red Hot in
He got
We're all the
banned
great
from
minds.
his own subreddit.
nope. So here's the article. Red Hot Chili Peppers fans are reporting that John Frusciante has lost his old voice in his first radio appearance in years with Flea over the weekend on Dub Lab Radio. Gold and Dream Seeker posted on Reddit, just listen to the whole thing. Whoa, John sounds and acts like a totally different person now. It's like every time he comes back to RHCP, his friggin' DNA changes or something.
Oh, man.
Dun, 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 dun.
And the rest of this...
Waste of time.
The-
Thank you, Brett Buchanan.
The rest of this article, if you want to call it that, are all quotes from Reddit users.
Wow.
That first sentence that he included is the only thing in this that Brett Buchanan actually wrote.
I love that.
Balls to use a subreddit as a source.
I still love that Billy Corgan called him out.
Yeah, Billy Corgan
was
fucking
pretty
hates
good.
him. Yeah.
Who did he call out?
Brett Buchanan, the guy who runs Alternative Nation. Billy Corgan has strong feelings about him.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Fuck yeah, Corgo.
All right. Well, I think it's late enough and that we've done enough damage to ourselves and our reputations tonight. John, thanks again for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Anytime,
seriously.
guys. This is great. It was an awesome listening to the album, both before and during the podcast. And you guys are all gentlemen and very patient with me. So thank you. Thanks for having me. If you ever want to have me again, just ask.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
See you around.
Maybe one of these days we'll try to redo different class.
That fucking train wreck.
Oh, that was a good one.
All right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. So with that in mind, thanks for joining us. I am Christopher.
Patrick.
I'm Jim, and we'll see you in hell.
And do not come back. I never loved you.
Zero science.
Now available in podcast feeds. Don't miss your chance to join three friends as they unpack movies from their childhood.
I'm just gonna watch you die.
What was this film rated again? PG.
And decide just how traumatic they were.
That is how long they're stabbing him.
I giggled through that scene because it was so uncomfortable and weird.
In Clamshell Case Files, starring the bad boy of podcasting, Quentin.
I mean, if my dog killed another dog, I would protect him by burying that body, but I would never kill the dog myself.
Girl Friday, Bridget.